We would like to acknowledge the Yagara people and the Turrbal people as the traditional custodians of Meanjin, the lands in which we record this podcast today. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Always was, always will be Aboriginal land.
Welcome everyone to For the Health of It. This is a Healthcare Australia podcast.
This is a podcast made for healthcare professionals by nurses on the inside. My name is Jessica.
And I'm Zana.
And we are actually nurses that work for Healthcare Australia, and we are your brand ambassadors. So we've got a pretty awesome episode today.
Yeah, we
it's
do.
with a dear friend of mine named Jane. If you've probably listened to some of the podcasts that we've done previously, Zana and I have both worked in Brisbane with the metro side of HCA as well as rural remote. And I actually got to meet Jane during some work I've done across multiple hospitals across Brisbane. And the most important part of this story that I want to kind of get out there is Jane not only has come and started working for agency in the last year, but she's actually come from New Zealand, which we will definitely dive into, and she's done a bit of R&R placement as well as metro. So, Jane, thank you so much for coming today.
Oh, thank you both for inviting me.
And I just love the Kiwi accent.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no.
Love it. So let's talk about what actually brought you over to Australia, because obviously you've come from New Zealand. What kind of brought you over to Aussie land?
Well, I'd thought about it for a long time, and the opportunity, I just one day, with COVID, everything shut down, so I put it on the back burner, and then I just decided one day to buy a ticket, and then realised that I actually had to resign from work. I had to rent my house out. I had a lot to do, so, and I just took the opportunity, and I needed a change, and financially, it was... it's been a game changer for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So.
How was the process of applying to work? Because I know that New Zealand and Australia, they try and make the process a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's reciprocal.
Yes.
And the easiest thing, which I thought would be the hardest, was getting my registration over here.
Yes.
And that I just did that in New Zealand, and the process was quick. Not a problem. You pay them the money, and there you are.
And then done. And this is your upper registration, your nursing registration.
Yeah, nursing
We've got a few
registration.
internationals that would be listening to this podcast. So our nursing registration here in Australia is called APRA, and you do have to apply to APRA in order to work here in Australia as a nurse. But because Jane has come from New Zealand, they've got an agreement between Australia and New Zealand just to make the process a little bit easier. So if there are some Kiwi nurses listening...
Yeah, and no age limits.
It's easier.
So that's the great part.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking, there are no age limits.
You don't need sponsorship, you don't need visas
No,
or anything like that.
no.
You just get your APRA, come on over, and you can work for us.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
So you've obviously come to Brisbane. You've got some family here in Brisbane, which is
my
why
sister.
you came.
Yeah. And that made it so much easier to come over.
Definitely.
Just packed my bags and landed on her doorstep.
Aw.
Yeah.
And then what was the process of applying to Healthcare Australia and kind of starting to get shifts? How was that?
The process, I applied here. I'd heard about them through other people, and I'd heard of a few agencies, and it seemed to be a pretty dominant agency and covered a great area as well, so the opportunities were there. So I applied just through a consultant, and then did the process of doing the competencies and all that kind of thing, which you just do online, and put your availability in on the app, and away you go.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Literally just sit there and go, I think I might work Monday, Wednesday and Friday this week. You know, why would you want to work every day? Maybe just work every second day.
Yeah.
And then weekly pay.
Yeah, weekly
good.
pay's great.
It's so good, isn't it?
I really like
It keeps that passion alive to keep
does.
working.
Yeah.
And you get that weekly pay.
Definitely.
Like, just hit my bank account. I'll keep working.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in Australia for now?
A year.
Wow, awesome.
Just over a year. Yeah,
Okay, so tell us about this year. What have you done? Where have you been?
Oh, well, I've working-wise, I've based in Brisbane basically, but I did do my first rural and remote contract, which was, it was fantastic actually. It was a bit nerve-wracking, and had a really positive experience going there. It was in Rockhampton, And yeah, I'd heard, you hear about a place, and I thought, oh, well, I'll just do it. And it was a little bit daunting at first, but then it's about people. You get to know, and people were lovely and had a really positive experience.
Yeah,
that's so good.
I think that's such a key takeaway of what you just said, is that you hear all these things about these contracts and these places, especially during rural and remote. There's these very isolated communities, there's like very, I guess, Indigenous communities, Torres Strait Islander communities. You hear about how these cities are, you hear about how many people live there, you hear about they might be, very high in drugs or alcohol, things like that. And people can tell you certain things that turn you off a place. And I think with rural and remote nursing, you really have to try and not take anyone's opinions on board, because if you took everyone's opinions on board, everyone would have something negative to say about everywhere. But then also people have a lot of positive things to say about everywhere. So I think that's a very important thing to note, is that, you go to a place and you might have heard all this stuff, but to try and really clear that from your head and go to a place with a fresh eyes, because there's so many places that people tell you and you're like, oh, I'm not really looking forward to this place. Like, it sounds really scary. Everyone's been saying that all these horrible experiences, and it can be your favourite place. So there's very much so, like, you just need to take everyone's opinions with a grain of salt and go there and form your own opinions, because it's very important.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a small, it's that rural, it's like a small, rural kind of community, and the people are exceptional, because there were do's and don'ts. And it's just common sense and looking after yourself a little bit as well. But the people around, I hitched quite a few rides.
Oh my goodness, good on you.
No, with people I knew. So,
it's so good. I love when you go into like a new town, like these rural remote contracts. So a lot of people think that rural remote means like tiny, tiny towns with like no shops or anything. Like that's what people think. But rural remote contracts, like you actually have like regional towns. And I came from Perth, and I didn't even know what like a regional town was, rural remote. Like I didn't know any of those kind of definitions, right? And my first contract, actually, it was a town of like over 10,000, and there was a McDonald's, there was a Target, there was a Kmart, and I was like, this is awesome. And the community, like, you just like, as soon as you enter the town, you start working, like the community feel you get in these kind of environments is so strong, and you make such great friendships and amazing connections with people. Like, you had mentioned to me before the podcast as well that someone had even lent you their car to use.
They lent me, it was great. It was a farm ute. It needed a little bit of work. So I went in and, contributed to lights and wind wipers.
Nice.
But that was a game changer for me, and gave me freedom on my days off. And
how kind of them, just to be like,
so kind.
It's just, that's the feel you get in those environments and those communities, isn't it?
It was crazy kind. It was just, and it just renews your faith in people, and it's sometimes karma, you give and they give, and it's just
definitely.
Lovely.
So let's talk about, so obviously you did your first contract. It was an 8-week contract. You got your travel included, so to and from Brisbane. You got accommodation included. A lot of people ask about accommodation. Tell us about your experiences with your accommodation.
I had great accommodation. I needed, because I didn't have a car initially, I needed to be within walking distance of where I was working. And so it was a motel. It was self-contained. So I had a little kitchen, had my own washing machine, basic things like that. I won't tell you where I hung my washing, and hopefully nobody saw. But anyway, and I just, because I was there for 2 months, I got to know housekeeping, and so they kept the basic supplies going, and so no, it was really good, and it was great.
Quite a mixture of different accommodation. Like I've been to so many contracts. I actually should count how many contracts I've been on, because it's actually quite a lot of contracts. But I've been in so many different houses. I've been in motels. I've been in dongas. I've been in caravans. Like, I've literally stayed in this crazy amount of accommodation. The one thing in my nursing career is I always wanted to stay in nursing quarters. Because there's so few of them these days. They've all been knocked down. And one of my passions was like, I need to stay in nursing quarters, and I finally got to in Temora, New South Wales, and my God, it was creepy. Because it's like,
there'll be a few ghosts in it.
So the upstairs wasn't used. You weren't even allowed upstairs, but I mean, I snuck up there and had a little look. And I was like, definitely ghosts in here.
Yeah,
100%.
But it was such a cool experience to like be with other nurses and be like, oh my God, we're in nursing quarters. Like this is over 100 years old. Like imagine living here and working at the hospital, and you know, nursing has changed so much.
It has changed so much. Yeah, because that really takes you back to how it was when people first studied nursing.
Yeah.
They lived there, they breathed there, they worked there, they did everything in the hospital. So,
but how amazing is it that you don't even have to stay in nursing quarters? That's what they did back in the day.
Yeah.
We actually get put in motels or a big house where you have your own room. Like, you know, it's not like a backpacker style place where you have to be in a room of 10 people. Like,
no, absolutely not.
When you work on these contracts, you get proper accommodation. You get your own bedroom. You know, every accommodation is different.
Yeah.
But a motel sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, I did want to kind of be on my own and not share, you know, just... It was just me.
Yeah.
And it worked out fine. So,
So perfect. So what did you do on your days off? Because obviously, you know, you're full-time working, but sometimes you can do a contract in a place where you're kind of like, there's not much to do maybe in that specific town. But what's important is when you're going to these areas, actually look at the map and look at what is around you. Because even half an hour, 2 hours, there can be the most incredible spots. So
definitely.
Talk us through, what did you do on your downtime?
Oh, well, I got on that old Rodeo ute.
With the no window wipers?
They had new window wipers.
Yeah, because you put the new ones
I put them in there. Went out to Keppel Island.
Beautiful.
And that was amazing. And out to Yeppoon.
I love Yeppoon.
Yeah, Yeppoon is very beautiful.
It's got such beautiful vibes there.
Yeah, it's lovely. And being by the sea, I love the sea.
Yeah.
So it was just good for the soul. And went the Capricorn Coast on walks around there, and Turtle Bay, and
so beautiful.
And it was just it was magic.
See, so you went away for 8 weeks, technically on a work trip, right? So you're there full time, but look at all those amazing experiences that you just did in an 8 week period. Yeah. That's amazing.
It was
plus. The income would have been pretty nice as well, you know.
Yeah. No, the income's good.
The income's nice.
Yeah. Definitely better than New Zealand.
And then you get the free accommodation. You get these amazing experiences on the side. So what do you think of your first R&R contract? Pretty good experience?
It was great.
Yeah.
And I look forward to doing more.
Oh, so good.
So what is next for you? What is your next plans with agency?
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I'm just going to see. I'm just working Metro at the moment, and that's been fantastic. And you just get to know places and where you like to go, and you can do, you know, contracts with hospitals, but I kind of at this stage haven't needed to, which is great.
Yeah. I just love how you can just adapt to your own, I don't know, whatever you want to do, right? Do you want to go away, you can go away. If you want to do 5 shifts a week, you can do 5. If you want to just do 2 because you're feeling a bit like, oh, I've just worked a little bit too much, you can do 2 shifts. Yeah. So how have you found, so we've obviously got the Healthcare Australia app on your phone. How do you find using the app? So you tick in your availability.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so easy, hey?
It's really easy.
And then if you need to, like, say if you want to do some block bookings and you want some more consistent work, like, you seem to be getting so much work, you don't need to do this. I remember I wanted like full-time. Yeah, true. I wanted to work full-time for a particular period because I was saving money. So I called the agency and I said, hey, like, I really would like to do some full-time hours in one particular area. There was a hospital that I super loved working at. I just loved the people. Yeah. And so they contacted the hospital, and I actually signed a contract for 3 months, and I got to do full-time for 3 months. A lot of them didn't even realise I was agency because I was a part of furniture. And I had to keep reminding them. I was like, I'm agency. And they're just like, what?
No, I get that as well. And it's like, are you in a contract now? And I was like, no.
I know. It's so amazing that you can just do so much. The day-to-day, block bookings, R&R contracts. You can just go with whatever is going on in your life.
Yeah. And you have a lot of experience in lots of different areas. So talk us through, like, what areas you work in.
Well, at the moment, I work in recovery, and I've done that for a long time, so post-anaesthetic care. And in New Zealand did the RNAA, so the Registered Nurse Anaesthetic Assistant, which is a new thing in New Zealand. It's different from Australia where you have anaesthetic nurses, but this was a training, and I did a postgrad training but working full time. So it is a new thing, a little bit political, but it's very positive, and they know that there's such a shortage of techs, anaesthetic techs, that nurses are now embracing that and doing the courses and the exams and things like that. So and a large background in ED. Mm-hmm. It's been a few years since I've done ED, but you use it in your work anyway.
Yeah.
But I just have to get my big girl pants on and maybe start doing some ED, especially with rural and remote.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
It's got there's a much greater need to do that. So that will be standing at the edge of the pool and just jumping in.
Exactly,
So good.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing to do is like in situations like that, if you've got a background in an area and you want to get back into that area, if you just communicate it with your consultant and say, hey, like I've got this ED background, this is what I've been working in now, and I really would love to get back into ED. Yeah. The consultants can then communicate that to the facility and say, this is a situation, this is her nursing experience. There's always that general rule, like, it's good to maybe in the last year be in that area, but it is flexible on each person, and the more you communicate it with your consultant, the better it is that you can kind of get back into those areas. So the best thing about being agency is the ability to upskill and learn new things.
Yeah.
Now, Jane has just come back from an R&R placement, and with our rural remote placements, if you do a 6-week period, you get $500 of an education allowance, which is incredible. And then if you do 12 weeks, you get $1,000. Now, this is courses such as advanced life support, pediatric life support. Krana have really incredible courses like your remote emergency care. So whatever pathway you want to take your nursing, you can use this education allowance and actually put it towards a really amazing education platform, and then you can learn so much. Yeah. So now you've got $500 up your sleeve.
I know, and I want to do it for exactly what you were saying. So
there we go.
To do ALS and pediatric.
Advanced life support, And that rec course, I really want to do that Krana rec course.
Yeah.
It is so competitive to get into.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got to book it so ahead in advance.
Yeah.
I think it's $700.
Yeah.
But I've heard such amazing things about that course. So a lot of people don't realise that you can actually do external courses with that education bonus, but you absolutely can.
Yeah.
And then another incentive I just want to bring up as well, because whether you're metro or whether you're rural remote, if you work 1 hour, you get 1 point. And when you get 500 points, you get $500. So it's called Cash for Hours. Pretty amazing incentive.
If anyone's listening to this and has never heard of it and has worked for Healthcare Australia, I guarantee that there is some money sitting at the bottom of your payslip right now. If you head over to your payslip, look at the bottom, there is a thing that says Cash for Hours accumulation. I think, I don't know what that exactly says, but it gives you a number down there basically. Yeah. If you're at 500 or anything above 500, you can cash that out in 500 lots. $500 for every 500 points.
Pretty good.
And it's going to be kind of closing off soon, so we really need you guys to get in there and cash that stuff out, because we don't want that to be, sent away and missed out on. Yeah. So if you see anything at the bottom of your payslip that says anything over 500, get in there right now and get that.
We spoke to a nurse the other day who had like 1,500 points. Yeah. So that's $1,500 just sitting in there. So please check that.
Please check.
But for any updated incentives, I know. She was like, that is amazing. If you go on to healthcareaustralia.com.au, we do have all our incentives on there. Obviously, we are coming up with new incentives all the time. So if you're listening to this episode and it's been quite a significant amount of time, we probably have some more cool ones to look at. So head on to that website. But amazing. I love that you're going to be using that education allowance.
Oh, absolutely.
And you're going to have all these amazing experiences.
Yep. Yeah. I look forward to them.
I get so inspired doing this podcast. See, guys, apply to Healthcare Australia. Seriously.
Is there a place in Australia that is your be all and end all? Like you moved over to Australia for this one experience. Is there something at the top of your list?
Yeah, on the bucket list.
Oh, anything that involves a beach.
Yeah,
pretty
coastal.
much. Yeah.
We love coastal.
Yeah.
Well, you can work on an island as well with Healthcare Australia. So
certainly can.
You should put that on your bucket list goal.
Oh, it's going, okay, right.
Thursday Island, things like that.
Absolutely.
I think going, guys, you can go rural, inland, you can go coastal, you can go on an island.
Yeah. Create a bucket list. Create a contract bucket list. Yep. Yeah. We have bucket lists in our normal lives, but a lot of those things on our bucket list are contracts and are work-related things, because we love our work and we love travelling with agency and we love, travel nursing. So make a bucket list of the places that you want to go and tell your consultant the places that you want to go, because, if they know what you want, they can help tailor a plan for you to go exactly where you want to go and do exactly what you want to do.
I encourage everyone, sit there and write minimum 10 career bucket list goals. And think about that. If you're full-time in your job right now and you are not feeling that passion and you're just trying to figure out, like, how do I get this love for nursing again? Sit there and actually write down 10 things and go, what is it that I would like to do in my nursing career that would inspire me and get me excited?
It can also be things that you want to do in your personal life, because with agency nursing, you can tick off those bucket list items that are your personal things by doing it through your career as well. Like if your bucket list item is to, you know, take a photo on the tip of Australia, do a contract up there, and then you're already there and get the photo that you've always wanted to get. You can actually combine your work and your personal bucket list to just create, you know, and design, we always say, your best life, really.
We're all about designing your life, guys.
We love it.
You can do that. Was it Design Your Life with HCA?
Yeah, Design Your Life today with HCA.
We made that up. That's our motto.
Yeah, it's our favourite motto, for sure.
Even though I messed it up. But anyway, you get the idea, everybody. Well, thank you so much, Jane, for coming on the podcast today.
Thank you both so much.
We are so honoured.
Yeah, you've been very inspiring.
Oh, you are also inspiring. You are now an inspiring Team Purple. Exactly. Everyone will be listening to this being inspired by you. So thank you.
Thank you again, everybody. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.